Good morning, everyone here on the East Coast. We'll get started with our meeting in just a second. I was a couple minutes late. We were just getting off Jeff Russell's morning huddle, which we'll mention a couple of the highlights from it today. And there is, I believe he records them. So if you go into his workplace, group. I think that's where he puts the recordings. It was actually a really good call today. I know it's not always possible for everybody to be on all the calls. This is one of the reasons why we do. A lot of us do record the calls, which I'm recording today's call here. We had an agent attraction call at 10 a.m. Eastern, which we also recorded. I will be in the habit of putting those back into the newsletter. We hadn't done it for a little while, and then we decided to start doing it again. We also have on Thursday two mastermind calls coming up. One for American Destiny. We'll have Jim Steffens on as our guest speaker. And I might repeat this later in the call because people keep coming into the call. And Jeff Russell will also be doing his mastermind. But and we have a lot of people coming on today, a few people who I haven't seen for a while, which is great to see you guys. Absolutely. Let me just open up to if you guys have any wins or any closes, listings, any good stuff you have happened in the last week or so. I'll just open up to you guys for any wins before we get kicked off with the call.
I have a listing appointment today from a previous client that called last week.
Well, that's good.
So
That's good, Kendra.
that's always
And
good.
yeah, and Kendra's done a really good job as far as working workplace for referrals. So I might tap into you here during the meeting, Kendra, and talk about that a little bit because I think it's an untapped potential for agents. But any other wins on this post Father's Day, post US Open tournament from the past weekend? Well, I had a win. I went to the US Open on Tuesday, so or third Tuesday on Saturday with my daughter and had a great time. It rained a little bit, but didn't rain too bad, and we stayed for about 6 hours and saw some saw about two golf shots because you don't go to the US Open to watch golf. It's unless you just plant yourself in one of the um, grandstands and just sit there and watch the groups come by. It's somebody asked me today, but do you follow the groups around? And no, it's just impossible. You could maybe follow like the first couple tee times that go off in the morning and maybe follow those guys around. Um, but I mean, when Scotty Scheffler came through, it was there was nine state troopers. You know, we knew he was coming because nine state troopers all of a sudden showed up on the tee, and then all of a sudden there was like 5,000 people in an area that held about 2,000 people. So it was nuts. But we got to see him. We were like 2 feet away from him, so it was pretty cool. But anyhow, that's my win to get to go to the U.S. Open this weekend. I hadn't gone for the last couple opens. We have it every 8 or 9 years here in Pittsburgh at a club called Oakmont, which is pretty famous. And if you ever get a chance to play there, let me know. It's pretty amazing. So, but any other wins for the group here? Well, I got you guys on the call here. Yeah, I'm just letting the last couple stragglers in on the call.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a quick win. I got a price reduction on one of my listings that I have been requesting for a minute, and we finally got a good reduction. So we're going to see what kind of activity we get from that.
yeah, good. Yeah, but don't be afraid to ask for those guys. I mean, everybody thinks it's a hot market, but it might be hot in some areas of the country. It might not be as hot in others. You guys, you know your markets. Especially if you're working with asset managers, bring all the evidence to them and do this way before, they're starting to get to the point where they're going to have to reassign it. We tip, from what I understand, they're giving agents, anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get some offers and stuff going. But you want to get these things, out the gate. If you know it's overpriced out of the gate, you got to start really pushing for those reductions as soon as possible with good hard evidence. Yeah, here's the comps. Here's how the market's doing. This is what we're seeing. This is the number of days on market, and it's been changing and has been changing in a good way. So these are all things that you can do to ask for those. And you still might not get it, but at least you're making every effort to get it to the asset managers who will again get it to the client to make these changes that you know will get the house some more eyeballs on. Because we all know that it really is price is the number one thing that we need to do to get something from listed to sold. And I see some people on this call right now that have been, closing a lot. I've been sending you guys um, congratulation emails or text messages when I see that something closed. I just saw a couple more come through today. Um, we did slow down in the month of May a little bit for production. It was down probably a couple million as compared to other months of the year. It could be, I don't see every agent that closes because I only see agents that are still within the cap. So you might be closing things that I don't see. So if you don't get that text message from me, it's because I don't know that you closed on a deal. EXP will only send me a notification, and I get this in my portal, and they don't actually send me a notification. I look at my portal every day, probably about 10 times a day, quite honestly, uh, because I want to see who had those closes, and that's how I see. If you get a text message from me, it's because you haven't capped yet. Once you cap, I won't see those. But but as far as this week, this call will be, I don't have a lot to go over with you guys today because there's a lot going on this week that I want you to focus on. We have a sales meeting later today with Jeff Russell and Kelly Jones. Jeff and Kelly were with Brent Cove last week. If anybody doesn't know who Brent Cove is, just put in the chat. I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to know if you think, and you can do a private message to me so everybody doesn't see that you don't know who Brent Gove is. But Brent Gove is probably, well, not probably, he's the most successful EXP rev share agent right now. He does well over $1 million a month in revenue share. He has other agents in his organization that are doing a couple 100,000 in revenue share a month. He's definitely a leader in our group. You'll see an email, you'll see a recording from him in just about every one of my newsletters that I send out. He has something called the 1% Club, which is this call that he does each week. He hasn't been publishing those the last couple of weeks, but he has been publishing his team meetings, which I like to listen to because it's him talking to his team about his processes and getting them motivated. And he's just a great motivating type of personality. If Brent Cove wasn't successful in EXP, he would have been successful in any other industry he would have got into. That's just the way he is. I mean, he was with, I think it was with KW. I can't remember if it was KW or Remax, but he was with one of those organizations for years and years. And definitely he was a top producer in those organizations. And when he moved over to EXP, he brought a guy named Gene Frederick, who had 6 or 7 Remax franchises. I think they were all in Texas. I'm not 100% certain on that, but he basically, went to his wife and said, "Hey, I'm selling these. I'm getting rid of them. Brent's giving me an opportunity. I'm going to go. I'm going to take this." And now he owns several houses all over the planet. Lives in Puerto Rico most of the year, but he took a chance on this little company back in 2015 that was more or less a startup at the time, and as a result, built a great organization behind him. And I only bring this up to mention this is where Jeff and Kelly, this is where they spent their week last week with Brent Gove, with other people who run big organizations. And that's who their guest speaker is going to be at the sales meeting today. He's going to be one of the top 1% agents in the country who does commercial work. I believe he does commercial work in I think he's licensed in California. But his organization is large. I think a 12,000 agent organization right now. So that's going to be Jeff and Kelly's guest at 1:30 Pacific time today. The link's in the email newsletter that we sent out to you guys. But if you don't have that, it's just rrgzoom.com. Let me type that in the chat. rrgzoom.com. And that'll get you to Jeff and Kelly's 1:30 sales meeting. So I'm really excited to hear this person speak today. I'm always excited to hear people who are doing really well in the organization share their secrets. Success leaves clothes is what Jeff always says, and he gets that from Michael Hellickson. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on Michael Hellickson's group coaching call every Tuesday without fail. Now, Michael's not always doing it. Sometimes it's one of his other agents or one of his other coaches doing the call, but they say the same thing every week. They talk about the same things every week, and I can hear the stuff every week, and it's like I never heard it before because you're only focused in on what you're focused in on. So I'm really trying to bring that information to you guys as a group as well, because one of the things that we always try to do is bring value, and hopefully we're doing that for you guys. Um, so be on Jeff's call today at 1:30 Eastern. On Wednesday, if you're not jumping into Robert Wellcart's calls, he's doing two. He's doing one that is more or less how to get more listings. It's a more listing mastermind call. And then right after that, he does a call on keeping statistics, accountability, watching your numbers, how to improve your position by watching what you're doing. Nobody will get anywhere in any organization without reaching out to other people in some capacity. So one of the things one of my mantras that I learned from one of my coaches years ago was that outflow equals inflow. So if you're not outflowing information, if you're not talking to people, if you're not sending out emails or postcards or having open houses with people attending or even Facebook posts, likes, that kind of stuff, outflow will definitely, the more you're outflowing, the more you're going to inflow. And that's something to keep in mind whenever you're building an organization or just building a client base. Most of you on this call, I don't see too many newbies on this call. Most of you guys on this call have been doing real estate for a hot minute. So you understand that your client base is something that's taken time to develop over time. It hasn't developed over the last week or so. And this is true for your agent attraction or your agent. And this call isn't supposed to be an agent attraction call, but that's something I'm always focused on. But you'll attract people that want to be doing the work that you're doing, that want to be successful like you're successful. But they won't know you're successful unless you get it out there in some way. So a lot of you will become uh, leaders in your state organizations or your local boards, and you're going to be very visible to other agents, and you're going to ask you questions, and they're going to see you, and they're going to stalk you. They're going to look up your numbers on Zillow or your MLS, and they're going to see where you're at production wise, and they're going to have questions for you. And don't be bashful. Let them know who you work for. Don't be a secret agent. Let them know the type of work that you do and who you're working for, and introduce them to myself or Larry or your sponsor, and we can start, introducing them to some of the calls and things that we do as a group, and they can learn about our culture. And not that our culture is weird or anything, it's just our culture. It's just, this is how we operate, this is how we Zoom, so to speak, and get them connected, get them engaging, and let them ask questions. What was great about Jeff's huddle today was that it was hard to get a word in because everybody had questions. Everybody was asking, engaging, and that's really what the purpose of a morning huddle is for, is just to give everybody a forum to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing this week, and here's how you can participate. And other than that, you need to be out there either prospecting on the phone, meeting with clients, calling clients, having your events, your quarterly events, so that people don't forget who you are, what you do, and what's going on. So. Um, I rattled a little bit, so I'll take a couple second break. Do you guys have any questions, or anybody want to chime in as to what's working for you guys out there? One of the things I had in last week's newsletter was the video from Michael Hellickson, the new 2025 economy. So if you get a chance, watch that. That was a pretty good video. And then Larry's wealth building from last Friday. I actually still have to watch that. I didn't have a chance to watch that yet, but it's in the newsletter. this Thursday, if you can jump on the American Destiny Real Estate Mastermind for REO, this is a great opportunity if you have somebody that is looking to possibly do REO, or maybe they do REO and they want more REO. This will be a great call because we're going to have Jim Steffens on as our guest speaker. Jim's been on Darren's call twice in the past, but it's been a little while since he's been on last. It's been at least a year. I also have a couple people that we're talking to about next month, July and August, as far as being guests. And then on Thursday, later in the day, I'm not sure at the time, we're going to have Jeff Russell's going to run his REO mastermind call. So again, this is a great time to bring somebody who's interested in doing REO. Maybe they've never done it. They want to ask some questions, or they just want to be a fly on the wall, or maybe it's somebody that's done a little bit of it and wants to do more of it. Jeff doesn't hold back, answers any question people have. And we typically have 30 to 40 people on those calls. So it's a good mix of people from across the country doing REO work. And then lastly, Larry's going to have his REO on his Friday wealth building call on this Friday. I don't know who his guest will be, but he's had guest speakers the last couple weeks. He's had AI guys on. He's had Louis Amaya with PIMCO on, which was a really great call. If you didn't get a chance to watch that particular call, it was in two newsletters ago. And if you need the replay, I can send that to you. Just send me an email and I'll send that over to you guys to watch that replay. It was a pretty good one. That's it on my end. Anything that you guys want to add, or anything that you guys need to tell me about or let me know about? All right, guys.
Hey, Eric,
Well,
it's Sean.
oh, hey, Sean.
I want to check with the agent on this group. I don't know who is in the Los Angeles, Southern California market, but I think the market's starting the cool off quite a bit. I mean, I have conducted 2 open houses, and I have for 2 hours, not the 3 hours, I think, and there's nobody. And even I put up, some Facebook ads, a few days before, and I have a few
Right.
people conduct one, but it's kind of very strange.
Yeah, nobody on this call that I can see is in your market. I would talk to Jeff and Kelly. They're only about 40 minutes from you, so their market's probably very similar. I know they have great success with their open houses. I know they're big proponents of putting lots of signs up. When I say lots, they're probably putting 20 or 30 signs up for an open house, directing people to there. And I really think they use their open house as more of a tool for branding, getting their name out there, letting people see that they're active in the area. But they're also doing a lot of stuff with their local organization. I know they have at least at least once a year, they meet at their local board and have a meeting with all the agents in the area, invite them in and talk about what they're doing. They pick a topic. I'm not sure what the topic is always. Sometimes I'll bring a lender in and have the lender talk a little bit. So it's just a good outreach where you're reaching out to agents. But I would definitely talk to Jeff and Kelly. So if you need me to help you with getting in touch with you, but I think you have their cell phone, so you could just reach out to Jeff
Yeah,
directly
I
and he
can
can have a
reach out to
conversation.
Jeff and Kelly. Yes, and I
Yeah.
think today they have another sales meeting around 10:30 or something like that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, jump on the sales meeting and just ask that question out of the gate before their guest speaker comes on. Usually the guest speaker doesn't come on right away. They usually come on about 15 minutes into the call. So, and I saw you were on his huddle too. So, just never hesitate to ask those questions. I think on that call, we did have a couple California agents on that call, but everybody on this call I'm seeing Las Vegas and Arizona and Georgia and Minnesota and Florida, Washington, and Texas. I think I hit
Our
everybody.
market is really slow. I agree.
Yeah,
Open
yeah.
houses are slow. My listings are sitting. and they're priced right, location is right. So I think it's a really weird market right now.
Yeah, we're going to go through the lot. We're going to go through that. I mean, there's always ebbs and flows, and it's just a matter of flowing more than ebbing. So but yes, stay. This is a good time to stay real sticky with your investors. Make sure I would be a big proponent of doing a monthly newsletter for your sphere. It could be your client sphere, your agent sphere, or a combination of both. I've been sending out a weekly newsletter. It's actually bi-weekly. It's through a company called Home Actions, and I think I pay $49 a month. And I honestly haven't even looked at it for 2 months, like the content, but I know it's going out. If I would run that a little bit more business-like, I think I would get a little bit more action from it. But I've been, even just talking about it, I'll probably look at it a little bit more because my agent sphere is pretty large, but I know new agents haven't been put into that database here for a little while. So that's something I want to definitely do. And I have access to some VAs now through American Destiny. So I'm going to reach out to them possibly about taking that over. But that would just be a one great way. And then what's nice about the newsletter is you could have people on a call campaign, and after you send out the newsletter, you can just call them and say, "Hey, I just want to see if you got my newsletter. Just haven't talked to you for a couple months and want to see how you're doing." And just leave it at that. Or go from there, or invite them for coffee. Haven't seen you 2 years. I'd love to have coffee. If you did that with one client a week, you just had coffee with them. Maybe that's 52 a year. I mean, that's a good reach out. That's a good way to just stay in touch with your people, and especially especially if they're thinking about listing, but maybe they know somebody, and this is where you get those referrals coming in. But I think most of you guys know about that. It's just something I was thinking about. But anything else from you guys at this point in time? Let's have a couple minutes left before the next call. All right, well, I'll give you back some time today. Hopefully you guys can make the sales meeting. I do believe they're going to record it. But I would just be on it just in case something happens where they forget to push record. Mine's automated. It just happens automatically with this call, but sometimes you never know if things don't happen automatically. Nice talking. Nice seeing you guys today.
Oh,
Does somebody have
what's the time
questions?
again on that call?
1:30 Eastern. I'm sorry, 1:30 Pacific. So I don't even know what that is, your time zone. And I put the link in there. It should be the right link. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 1:30 Pacific is the time. So it'll be good. I mean, they run a meeting very well, and the person they're bringing on was also with Brent Cove last week, so I'm sure they're going to be talking about some more nuggets. But with that being said, nobody on this call is a newbie. All you guys, you have it together. Let's just get out there and crush it and keep crushing it. And then when you have people you want to, introduce to the organization, reach out to me and we'll talk, more about that person and being part of our group. Because we are growing. I grew 10 agents this month, which was probably my biggest growth since I started. We brought on a group that we've been talking to, Larry and I've been talking to for a couple years now. And those things happen. You might be talking to somebody and talking to them, and all of a sudden they decide, hey, this is the right time. And timing's everything in every organization, even your personal life. Timing is always everything. So just don't ever give up on somebody because the timing might not be right. Just understand it's not the right time. Just stay sticky with them, bring value in any way you possibly can with that person or persons, and eventually, and even if they never do, at least you know that you've always brought value to somebody. So you always I always operate from the viewpoint of contribution. If I always want to be contributing more in value than what I'm receiving in benefits. So that's the way I try to always operate. Do I always operate that way? Not always, but I always try to. It's always my intention. So, all right, guys, unless you have something else, I'm going to end off the call today. I'll stay on for a minute or so in case somebody has a last minute question, but that's the end of this call. And if you guys have something you want to go over with me privately, just call me on my cell phone, text me, and I'll call you right back and we'll go from there. So, guys, have a good week and let's be productive. I'm looking forward to being able to send all you guys text messages about your production. So talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Thanks.
You're welcome. See ya. Bye.